Hey guys, so today I want to talk about the brand foundation and specifically how I do a brand sprint. And this is sort of what I believe to be like the 80-20, just kind of the meat and potatoes and what you really need to get a good foundation for your brand. And it's important because this builds clear communication with you internally, with yourself or your team, and what decisions you make as you're growing, and also externally, what you present to your customers and how you come across on different touch points and how you decide to market when it comes to releasing new features, products, and so on. But with that being said, I did build this tool to really help define that brand foundation if you're kind of stuck. I know AI has been really a great way to try to get ideas and things rolling, and especially coming from the brand background for a pretty good while. I've compiled these exercises and what I would typically do with companies over the years into this foundational sprint. And we'll go through a couple different things, which is really goal setting, turning that into a mission statement. I'll explain a little bit more on that because mine's a little different. Creating your why statement. This is just one going to help you internally and also maybe give you some tools for some external marketing. Defining the brand personality, creating a brief there, and then building your brand with words. And then finally, wrapping it all up. And so I'm going to kind of walk through this with you a little bit, show you how it works and what we're going to do. So I'm going to use this as an example. My wife and I run a coffee shop, and we're going to go ahead and build that brand foundation here. Something we've been working on for a while, but I'm going to go through this exercise with y'all and show you what kind of comes out with here. And actually, we're going to go ahead and create a new account. No. Okay, so we created an account. You'll go through a little onboarding just to set up your industry and everything there. But when you log in, you'll start to see you have your different exercises. Just a quick little explainer. We'll have our goals, our why, brand personality, and build your brand words, and wrapping it all up. So we're going to start first with goals. I always start here first because this usually sets you up for decisions you're going to make later on. When I go through goals and a way that I've learned from Donald Miller, and it's really just creating 3 goals and within a certain time frame. Traditionally, you see the way of doing it where it's like, within the year, within 5 years, 10 years, and that's great. Sometimes that's really far out wishful thinking, and things change. The market changes, what you learn about your business changes, and so I really like this method. And we're going to see how we turn this into a mission statement later, but we're going to go ahead and go through this. And so first, we're going to go ahead and get started. And there's, again, a little intro talking to you about goals itself. And what we're going to do is, these goals are called economic priorities. So these 3 goals are going to set the economic trajectory of your company, meaning something that brings, monetary growth, money in a way. And these 3 goals are going to be something that focuses on that. For example, we can do, okay, I want to get 150 leads a month, right? That's something that would be able to generate more revenue. I want to increase our conversion from 5% online to 10%, increase our email or whatever that might be, add a second location, something like that. And so we're going to go through that here and setting these economic priorities for the coffee shop itself. So the first one, I think we have a goal of trying to get to $1,000 of daily revenue on average. So this is going to be definitely increasing customers, but really trying to work towards getting that. Okay. Now the next one here. So we'll kind of look at some different goals that we want to do. Okay, so the next thing here is that a while back we made subscriptions, but I think we want to reintroduce subscriptions. So, and put that to, I'd say, that'd be cool if we can get that to 1,000 a month in sales. And then lastly, we got goals here, right? And lastly, we have a third goal here. So that third one, we can say something like, we can do set quarterly paid events / workshops that add to 15% of overall yearly revenue. So when we say something like that, that's really meaning we want to create events in a way that we can provide value to the community, charge for it, workshops, create some really, really nice in-depth stuff for different topics that we're passionate about. Could be coffee, could be something else. some other brand and passion stuff that we have as a part of this coffee shop, and set that in there. And then lastly, we're gonna have a timeline. So realistically, what do you want to do for this? So we're already within the first 12 months of us operating. So I'm going to say, really, we want to try to get this to around 18 months. So we want to start being a little bit more aggressive with some of the stuff that we're working on. Okay, now we're completed, and we're going to take us to the next exercise here. Now we're going to do the golden circle. Some of you may have heard of this from Simon Sinek. And this is really leading and communicating with why we're doing what we're doing. People latch onto that, they buy into our story. And so we're going to really work on defining that here. And we can do that pretty simply. Now, I won't go super into depth on the golden circle, but really simply put, we start with the outside how, what. What is it that we do? In this case, we sell specialty coffee. And how is it that we do something that's unique? And then lastly, the why. Why do we do what we do? Okay, so here we do, we make specialty coffee at our brick and mortar face. And then we're going to do, how do we do it that's unique? Well, we focus on creativity and bringing some creativity and creating a space that is for creators and people bringing ideas to life. Okay, and we'll go next. And then why do we do what we do? And so this kind of gets you to what drives you to do this beyond profit. Of course, business is meant to make money. If you weren't making money, well, you wouldn't have a business. And so this is really the reason why we decide to even do anything, get into any sort of work, start any sort of company. And this is what kind of gets you through the hard times and why someone chooses you over a different company. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and submit our why. It's taking a little bit because now what's happening is AI is doing a little bit of work in the background while the process is kind of going through. And then it gives you the success message and it goes up. So now we're going to go to the next exercise here. And we're going to now work on our brand personality. So how is your brand as a person? There's a couple of things that I've kind of worked on here a little bit, trying to bring this from some of the pen and paper workshop settings that I'll typically do. And so we're trying to bring this into more of like a form. And this is how we start to really shape and build the brand as a person online and getting that in a way that's going to be able to communicate in a way that's authentic to the company, to you as a founder, and that resonates with your audience. And so here we'll start with a person that's 3 to 5 personality traits that we'll have. So we can definitely say, one like, you can say helpful, I think. Friendly. I'll say casual. Oh, more. I'll say supporting. I was going to say that. Supporting, helpful, kind of the same. So, and then I think we can turn this to down to earth. Let's try that. So next, tone of voice. So we are friendly, encouraging, taking ourselves too seriously. Okay, so what emotion you want people to feel when they interact with your brand? So I would definitely say, empowered. We get that a lot. People saying, I need this cup of coffee today. So that's one way of doing it, through the coffee itself. I can definitely say, empowered, inspired. Through some of the workshops we've been able to do in the past, that's been great as well, introducing people to other creators. So let's do those two. So if a brand can be described in one word, what would it be? I can say empowering. I think I like that one as from one of the examples. So same thing. It's going to kind of go through its thing. AI is going to do some stuff in the background. It's going to build out its guide there, and then we're going to move on to the next exercise. Okay, now we're on to the next step. So the next area is going to be creating a story. So this is going to be utilizing the StoryBrand framework from Donald Miller. It's a fantastic framework. I love the way it just communicates clearly. That way there's no assumptions left for what you do and how you help your customer. Now the goal here is you're going to put the customer, your client, as the hero, and your brand and company is going to be the guide, meaning you're there to help them achieve their goals, and they're the main character of the story. So we're going to go ahead and walk through that and go through this together and see how this works. And so first we're going to start with the character. So really it's just who are we helping, what are we helping them with, and we're just going to be really specific. And so I do have some notes over here, so I'm going to refer back to some of this to speed this along a little bit. So we're going to have, welcome anyone seeking a quality cup of coffee, and our heart lies with the creators and doers. So launching ideas can be hard, and having a place in people that support you. Okay, so essentially we have this coffee space. We love specialty coffee, and that's what we're focusing on, drinking some here as well. But also, these are people that we love working with that have ideas, that are working on something. They're tinkering with, content, business, and we really want to create a space that is built to foster that sort of growth and launching those ideas. And so we're going to go ahead next here. And what do you help them overcome? So creation. And reward. There are the walnuts. And early mornings. Love coffee too. Push the words. I have some other notes here as well. Looks like I'm missing my text here, but no worry. So we'll go ahead and go there. So how do you guide them? How can we trust you? So the guide. So I do have this part kind of worked on. Now this area, really what we want to do is how to position you with the guide, meaning how do you understand them? And if you have any authority, credentials, reviews, statistics that can help support this as well. And so the first part, empathy, we're going to start with the guide here. So we understand the careers path because it's a road we've traveled ourselves. Given my wife and I running this, we're both here, we've been in the creation and design, and so we get it, launching ideas. So we want to communicate that here. And so here we can demonstrate authority. So how do we, beyond understanding them, how are we positioned to be an expert in this space? And so we talk about that a little bit. 5 years in the coffee industry, craft for coffee, complement creative process. Yep. So our teams are expertise in design, business, ministry, means we're more than just baristas, we're collaborators in creative journey. And that's true. We have people that work with us, including ourselves, who lead and been involved in ministry, photographers in the creative space, as well as really close, friends that are all in this space as well, that help bring a lot of people together. And so we do everything we can to support others in that, in their journeys along this path. Easily, give them a plan. Okay, so this is the fun part. I love creating this 3 or 4 step plan. It's real simple. All we have to do is, even if it's a complicated process, like building a brand new home, we make it sound simple. Just give them a couple of things that they do to start to achieving their end goal. Something simple like order a coffee, take a sip, and then start creating. Start working on your ideas. There you go. Something simple like that. And then maybe we can really do one more repeat, right? So we'll do next. And what call to action do we want them to take? I'll say visit and have a coffee, or sit in and have a coffee. Something like that, right? We'll work on that. and what are we getting them to avoid? So this is where we talk about like the avoidance of failure. We kind of just paint the picture that if they do nothing, or if they make a wrong decision, what are some of the consequences? And we talk a little bit about that here. What are the negative consequences we help them avoid? What will people continue to experience if they don't buy my product or service? And so we'll have that a little bit here. So let's say the risk isn't just in making the impacts you want to make. Make the impacts you are called to make. Okay, so we'll save that, submit it, and then again, it's going to do its thing in the background. And we should be good to go now after this. So we'll take a coffee, take a sip while this works. Okay, we're one step closer to launching. So now we're able to go to review. So we've input all this information and we're going to kind of review it all. All right. So now what we're going to look at is our why statement, mission. So we can talk about this here. We believe that creativity thrives in a community. We feel inspiration and empower the realization of ideas, one exceptional cup and connection at a time. So this is why we do what we do, and it kind of explains that a little bit. And I think this is pretty solid. Our mission. Okay, so again, I mentioned that the mission here. This is not something we're going to put on the website or put this externally. The why is probably more what you'll do there. But this is for us and our team internally. So for example, we can share this with some of our employees and the leadership and say, okay, guys, if you want to have 1,000 a day in sales and get 1,000 monthly coffee bean subscriptions and 15% of your revenue come from quarterly paid events and workshops within 18 months, because creating doesn't happen in a vacuum. And again, we mentioned the why in here too. So we keep aligning our company to this mission. This is our mission. This is how we're going to keep the doors open and keep things flowing. And then now we have our brand, right? Brand personality. So it took what I put in there and it's kind of creating this brief. So now we have our personality traits, and it kind of does a summary here. More just a cup of coffee. It's a community hub dedicated to empowering creativity, fostering genuine connections. Brand personality, down to earth, supportive, imaginative. We create a community of friendly, encouraging, playful, and witty tone. Evoke feelings of empowerment and inspiration to everyone who interacts with us. And we can kind of walk through this a little bit more. We have our personality traits, how those look in action, how it looks in action for supportive as well, imaginative, tone of voice. What are some examples of that? And then playful and witty, our coffee mate, excessive brainstorming, spontaneous bursts of creativity, drinking your own risk. Yep. So these are all pretty solid. And again, these aren't meant to be like final, right? We can take this, we can paste into a document, work on them a little bit more. Then we have our story brand outline. Okay, and this is sort of the base for everything we start to do when working on any marketing, content, sales. This is what we start to lean on to. And this can also turn into a landing page outline, which we'll show you here in a second. So we have our customer. And then they have the problem. And it talks a little bit about that. It's a guide. We're creators too. We understand the unique challenges and where to bring ideas to life. It talks a little bit about that. The plan, the steps, walking through the doors, fuel up, create and connect. Call to action, visit Grind Coffee for today, experience the difference. So like maybe that's not perfect, but I can revise that a little bit, and that's fine. A failure without the right fuel and supportive community, creators risk burnout, isolation, possibility that ideas never seen the light of day. Perfect. Success. So what does that look like? And then again, just a little explanation. And then the bottom here, I do have like create your landing page. And so I'll show you how we can utilize that here in a second. But really what we can do is click generate. Again, going to work in the background. And while that is working, oops. That should be working here. I think I may have killed the... So what we can easily do, go into something like Relume. We can create a project, right? Grind Coffee. And this is like working in Webflow, for example. This is still working and developing its landing page content. And so it's going to take a while, because what it does is it takes everything, all the context that your brand has been generating, and then it generates the landing page outlines. And so this outline, you'll see it follows the story brand element too. So we have our H1, then we have like that supporting paragraph in the hero section. And then like we have the problem sections here. And then we kind of talk about the benefits, and then our guide, then our steps, and then we kind of have this nice section that is really meant for getting a little bit more of the SEO weight, just some nice type in here. And we don't have to use this, but just a little summary of everything. And then maybe we can do a nice little video right here. So it's just kind of like a placeholder for a video embed. I highly recommend that. Then we talk about, it looks like this generated some menu items or products for me, but these aren't accurate, and that's fine. More than just a coffee shop or store and promise. So then just like a little bit about us, who we are, and then some extra links, and it kind of generates some of that stuff for you. But what I would like to do is, hey, this is pretty solid. I have the brand, and we could take all this and paste this into something like Relume. So we'll go here, we'll create, and thankfully now, it looks like it broke through. So I'll get rid of this, for example. So I do need to get rid of a lot of type here. So what we can do is grab, yeah, see, it's this placeholder. Get rid of that. So you can only take about 5,000 words. Try that. All right. So now we're within our limit here. So we will go ahead and generate our sitemap. Cool. So it starts to kind of take that into consideration here. It works on the About Us or coffee community events, coffee blends, right? So it's working based off the information. And we can go to wireframe, then also generate some wireframes, and then we're starting to kind of see what to do next with this brand, right? We're starting to kind of build these pieces together. But the first, main part is that we have this foundation. Now we know how to take this. If we're going to work on any identity work, this is going to hand it off to another designer. We need to work on some website design development. These are all the pieces that we need in order to start creating a consistent brand. And consistency is where that clarity will start to be built, and people will start to understand who and what you are throughout any way they interact with you. Okay, so if you're a solopreneur or you're working on any ideas, hopefully this helped you a little bit understand some of the brand foundational parts, or even get some ideas going for yourself for what to work on. And be sure to try this tool. I'll have a link in the description. You can go ahead and sign up and do this for free to help you generate your brand and hopefully get some clarity around what you're building. But I'll see you on the next video, and then shoot any comments down below for questions you'll have around branding or this tool.